Surprise! And if you like what I do here, you should like this video and subscribe to my channel to keep up with the next album I cover. Or is it? Hi, I'm Abby, I have a lot of records, and this is part 2 of this week's Vinyl Monday. Welcome back, or welcome. If this is your first time here, Vinyl Monday is usually the series where once a week I sit down and talk about a classic album I love. But as you can see, today is very clearly not a Monday. If all goes well, this will be going up on a Friday. This is a continuation of this week's Vinyl Monday, part 2 of Power of a Supergroup. Part 1 was Crosby, Stills and Nash's self-titled record. If 20-minute episodes aren't your thing, or maybe you didn't catch part 1 and need a little recap, don't worry. I also do Vinyl Monday in 60 seconds, both here on my channel and over on my Instagram. The album I'll be covering in this video is The Record by boygenius. If you want to keep up with what album I'll be covering next, all you gotta do is check out my community tab. That's where I post the hints to the next episode. Alright, let's take the plastic off. So my copy is an original. This was one of the pre-orders on boygenius's website. And as B-roll Abby will be showing you a lot better than A-roll Abby ever could, this is on marbled gray vinyl. I don't have much colored vinyl in my collection at all in the grand scheme of things, so this was a fun special treat. This art was photographed by Matt Grubb. He did the front cover, the back, and the art on the gatefold. He also photographed these 80s prom style promo shots that I cannot get over, giving real Princess Bride vibes. Professing my love for Princess Julian here and now. I said I wouldn't do this. You might have noticed they're sporting matching tooth tattoos. The members of boygenius got these to celebrate their single Bite the Hand back in 2019. Had to grab a ballpoint pen and join in on this one. Come on, I even wore my old docs from college for this. I may have taken them off just now because my feet were uncomfy, but still, the thought was there. boygenius is Julian Baker on the left, Lucy Dacus in the center, and Phoebe Bridgers on the right. As it so often goes with a modern pop album, there are a whole slew of guest musicians and producers on this one. The record was produced by boygenius themselves, with Catherine Marks, Tony Berg, Ethan Gruska of the Bell Brigade, and Sarah Tunson of the Illuminati Hotties. That is a god-tier band name. This is usually where I dive into the recording/production of the record, but since my core audience might not know who boygenius is, I'm gonna start off with some introductions. But before that, roll transition. The tale of boygenius starts in 2018 with 3 prominent singer-songwriters of today. When Bob Dylan sang "Ghost of Electricity Howls in the Bones of Her Face," I'm pretty sure he was talking about Phoebe Bridgers. The legacy of Laurel Canyon runs deep, and that is where Phoebe got her start. She became a household name in 2020 through her sophomore album, Punisher. She's known for hits like Motion Sickness, Scott Street, and Kyoto, and yeah, did I mention she got in Twitter beef with David Crosby? In one of the most infamous moments in recent rock and roll history, Phoebe smashed a guitar during her performance on SNL. Cros did not like this, complained about it on Twitter, and Phoebe basically told him, "Oh boo, go cry about it." That's not literally what she said, but it is the thesis of what she said. R.I.P. David Crosby. Anyway, Phoebe has worked with everyone from Manchester Orchestra to SZA and even Taylor Swift. She appeared on the re-recorded Red album. And boygenius isn't her first supergroup. She formed the Better Oblivion Community Center with Connor Oberst of Bright Eyes. This woman is truly prolific. I don't know how she has the time to do anything, let alone sleep. She must set up a bed in the studio a la Yoko Ono. But anyway, it's strange to me that Phoebe has the most mainstream pull of the three boy geniuses. Her songwriting is maybe the least conducive to modern pop music. Her calling cards include multi-sweet songs with horns and strings and such. It seems Dylan didn't just prophesize one member of Boy Genius on Blonde. He predicted two. From Tennessee, the sad-eyed lady, Julian Baker. Julian was the first solo artist I was aware of among Boy Genius. I remember seeing the Sprained Ankle cover in a Newbery Comics and marveling at it, being entranced by its timelessness and raw objectivity. I thought it was a Jackson Browne album. Her sound has really evolved from the Sprained Ankle days, going from very pared back, drenched in cold, wet reverb to full band instrumentation, most of which she played herself. Gee, I wonder where I've heard that before. But with the evolution of her sound, her songwriting hasn't lost any of its bite. You're hard-pressed to find a straight-up happy song in her catalog. Running themes of hers include grappling with sobriety. Her latest record, Little Oblivions, revolves almost entirely around that, and a changing relationship with faith. Finally, bringing her alto voice and signature red lip to the table, the member of Boy Genius that my best friend Jack forgot about, and no, I will never let you live that down, Lucy Dacus. She catapulted into the mainstream when her years-old song Night Shift blew up on TikTok. It only just got a music video and the song's been out for 5 years. Her most recent album, Home Video, is an intimate look at her formative years with themes of spirituality, adolescence, Christian purity, culture, belongingness, and lack thereof. Boy Genius begins when Lucy and Julian meet backstage at a gig. Lucy was reading a book, wrote down her email on a blank page, tore it out, and gave it to Julian. From there, they strike up correspondence, developing crushes on each other that quickly settle into a platonic friendship. Phoebe toured with both Lucy and Julian, and the rest is history. The group name, Boy Genius, comes from the male prodigy attitude of rock and roll bands. The members of Boy Genius go as far as to call themselves the guys or the boys in interviews to kind of keep the bit going. They originally only had a one-off self-titled debut in 2018. This is the cover that references the Couch album, but it seems they were still thinking of each other long after that EP's touring cycle had come and gone. A collection of songs spread across their respective 3 discographies, Phoebe's Graceland 2, Lucy's Please Stay, and Julian's Favor, all revolve around the same tough time that Julian had, and this wouldn't be the only instance of the boys writing about each other. It happens plenty on the record. The song Leonard Cohen is about this time Phoebe was driving the boys somewhere. This Iron and Wine song came on, and Phoebe got so lost in conversation, so passionate about it, that she missed an exit, adding an hour to their drive time. I forgot to pull out that record. Where is my copy of Bridge Over Troubled Water? Get out of there. Leonard Cohen isn't the only capital G great referenced on the record. The song Cool About It uses some of the melody of Simon and Garfunkel's The Boxer. We also have some song titles referencing the Beatles, Revolution 0, and working titles for the record included The White Album, Beach Boys, and my personal favorite, In Rainbows. Get it? Because they all like women. The record was recorded at Shangri-La Studios in Malibu throughout 2022. And hey, speaking of Drive, the Leonard Cohen Drive story, a lot of this album's early production took place over Google Drive. When you have 3 fast-moving careers on 3 different schedules and all 3 members living in 3 different cities, you can't always get together to demo or rehearse material. So the boys would home record their demos, throw them up on a shared Google Drive for the other members to listen to and vote on. Apparently, Julian was writing so so much material that neither Lucy nor Phoebe nor any of their producers could keep up with the volume of work she was putting out. She would throw up like 5 songs at a time and just not tell anyone. The boys would take a simple majority vote on what to record and had the power to veto. Once all of the songs were narrowed down, we got the record. The track listing of the record goes as follows. Opening up side 1, we have Without You, Without Them, followed by $20. Then Emily, I'm Sorry. Next, True Blue, followed by Cool About It. And side 1 is rounded out with Not Strong Enough. Opening up side 2, we have Revolution 0, then Leonard Cohen. This is followed up by Satanist, then We're in Love, next Anti-Curse, and the album closes with Letter to an Old Poet. This is where I have to mention a little quirk of the physical release of the record. See, on that last song, Letter to an Old Poet, there's a locked groove on the vinyl with that last sustained chord of the song repeating over and over and over again until it morphs into kind of a train passing sound. I believe this is a reference to the end of Caroline No on Pet Sounds, as Beach Boys was a working title of the record. The record was released on March 31st, 2023, just a week ago as of me posting this. That's not something I ever get to say on Vinyl Monday. The record was preceded by a package of 3 singles, with one member singing lead on each. $20, sang by Julian, Emily, I'm Sorry, sang by Phoebe, and True Blue, sang by Lucy. Later came a one-off video for Not Strong Enough. In this section of the video, I'm gonna make note of the aggressive promo of the record. This began with a cover on Rolling Stone magazine styled after Nirvana's cover from 1994. We have Phoebe standing in for Kurt, Lucy for Christ, and Julian already bearing a startling resemblance to a young Dave Grohl. Then came a short film simply called The Film, with music videos for each of those 3 singles. Notable appearances include monster trucks, a gallon of blue paint, and 2 fifth graders that are taller than Julian. In video interviews, like the one the boys conducted for Pitchfork, we get to see the group dynamic at play. This is really rare for an album I cover on Vinyl Monday. Most of the records I talk about were put out before the internet was a thing, let alone video interviews. Going in, the record was one of the most hyped releases of 2023 so far. The hype could maybe be comparable to, say, CSN, or even more applicable, Blind Faith. And I was hyped too. So, what do I think of the record? So to begin with, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young put out such a high caliber of work because they all low-key hated each other. From Stills going in the middle of the night recording all the instrumental parts to the Couch album, to Neil refusing to go on stage at Woodstock because of camera crews, and everything in between, the tension was always there. It created this energy of always trying to best each other. The spirit of boygenius comes not from everyone low-key hating each other. It comes from how much all of the boys openly love each other. Integral to the boygenius ethos isn't just respecting each other as musicians, it's respecting and loving each other as people. The bass line of the record is friends making music together. I believe every member of the supergroup has to have a superpower, and here are boy geniuses. Starting with Julian, I believe hers is the power of language. I knew this was Julian's superpower before the record was even out. See Crying Wolf off her latest solo album, or anything off Sprained Ankle. They're achingly sincere. This woman's writing is razor sharp. While this seems like a given that any writer in this genre would possess this superpower, it's rarer than one might think, and it's a very mighty power to possess. Julian fronts every single electric song on the record. $20, Satanist, and Anti-Curse. I've taken to calling those the hero anthems of the record. I think this was a smart decision. Having airier production with more negative space accompanying Julian's work might be in detriment to it. These 3 songs are strong because they pack a punch. I want to point out the structure of the song Satanist. It calls back to Julian's DIY hardcore scene roots. To spotlight Julian on the record, I want to spotlight Anti-Curse. This song was written about the time she almost drowned, and it's interesting to note how she eulogized herself in the moment. Wound up a bad comedian, an honest fool with more bad habits than you can count. That describes the tendency to use self-deprecating humor to reason with impulsivity. We also have breaking curfew with illegal fireworks, unpacking God in the suburbs. This is how she identifies her recklessness. You can simply state your vices, sure, but it's better to spill them all out on the table like this. Julian couldn't hide who she is, what she thinks, or how she feels if she tried. She vocalizes everything with laser precision and makes it look so effortless when I know it's not. But I gotta note my bias here. I am definitely a Julian girly. She gives a great interview. She's humble and kind, articulate as hell, and she has great tattoos. Alright, enough simping for the pretty lady. Moving on to Phoebe. I believe her superpower is being the life of the party. Now, I don't think Phoebe would call herself the life of the party at all. She reads as a little introverted, but believe me, she contains multitudes. Phoebe fascinates me. She graduated from the school of Elliott Smith, if you're talking about how she writes songs, but she talks like that guy you met at a house show once. She's a total dude bro, and I feel so seen by it. She has this similar quality to Dylan in the 60s and a lot of other generational icons now that I think about it. The mood is shaped by her. When she says the party is over, that's it, pack up, you're done. Phoebe is the life and death force that runs through the whole record, really. Lots of production decisions on the record were made to mirror her solo material, it seems. See the strings on We're in Love, or the chorus through the outro of Revolution Zero. Not to mention the screaming on $20 and Satanist. She has the softest voice of the 3, but make no mistake, the woman can scream. $20, And the big finish is practically a Phoebe trope at this point. It's a lot louder on her solo material, like I Know the End, but it's no less effective on Letter to an Old Poet. I'll be getting into that song a little later. Finally, Lucy's superpower is her voice. Like Julian's, I knew Lucy's power was her voice before the record was out. See the searing, unzip your soul and scream it out Night Shift. Lucy comes out swinging on the record, leading the opener Without You, Without Them, and those impeccable vocal harmonies. She won me over with True Blue. I wasn't crazy about it until I heard it in the film. I guess I needed to see it with some visuals. And she shines on her solo tune, We're in Love. That warm tone that she possesses is perfect for the nostalgia and melancholy of singing a song someone wrote about you in a dingy karaoke bar. Never underestimate the power of an alto. Lucy's voice is inviting. It's like that first tight hug you've had after a really hard cry. It's safe to say Lucy is the MVP of the record. This is the Lucy Dacus Show, and I kinda love it. The record has inspired me to go back and listen to her solo material. On to the record as a whole. The vocal blend is, wow. It meets somewhere in the middle between the Chicks and CSN, and if it's anything we've learned from last week's episode, it's that it's so hard to blend voices. boygenius doesn't have the problem of different accents like CSN did, but all three do possess very different voices. Phoebe's is the softest of the three when she's not screaming in your ears, and the secret to a successful collaboration with Phoebe is to match her. She sets the pace. When going through the middle section of the record, the collective songs, as I've taken to calling them, it becomes less clear who wrote what. In the liner notes, all three members of boygenius are credited for writing every song. So while I can't dole out specific compliments, I can highlight some truly amazing moments. The record pulls such stark imagery in the lyrics. Black hole opened in the kitchen. On Not Strong Enough, spray paint my initials on an ATM. On Satanist. And it has a sense of humor. Another moment from Satanist that caught my ear. Solomon had a point when he wrote Ecclesiastes, if nothing can be known, then stupidity is holy. These moments are balanced with the heartfelt, like on Leonard Cohen in reference to his song Anthem. Lucy sings, I am not an old man having an existential crisis in a Buddhist monastery writing horny poetry, but I agree. Phoebe has a point for delivering the most devastating lines on the record. Cool About It was the first one that really knocked me off my feet. I took your medication to know what it's like, and now I have to act like I can't read your mind. I ask you how you're doing, and I let you lie. Oof! Not Strong Enough didn't grab me at first, but now I love it. It's total earworm material, and it's a much-needed light spot on this record. And Letter to an Old Poet. This is Phoebe's aha moment on the record. She waits a long time to have her aha moment, but the closer is one hell of a way to make your mark. And I'm gonna read you another lyric of interest. I want to be happy. I'm ready to walk into my room without looking for you. I'll go up to the top of our building and remember my dog when I see the full moon. This one calls back to another boygenius song off the self-titled EP. My first boygenius song, Me and My Dog. I first experienced all three of these artists through boygenius itself. That's right, I liked Me and My Dog and Bite the Hand on Spotify sometime in 2019. I didn't even know I did this. For the sake of continuity, I also have to point out the title of the song, Letter to an Old Poet. It could be in reference to Leonard Cohen, but Phoebe wrote a song with Connor Oberst while they were in Better Oblivion Community Center called Dylan Thomas. The ties are a little loud to ignore. Like I said in the CSN video, it's rare we have two equally powerful songwriters in a group, let alone three. This is the most I have ever poured over lyrics in any Vinyl Monday episode ever. It goes without saying that all three of these writers are brilliant. They're brilliant lyricists, each and every one of them, generational talents. As you've probably gathered from songs about relationships built on lies to songs about almost drowning, the record can get pretty dark. Not as bleak as Little Oblivions or Punisher, but I mean, hello, from Letter to an Old Poet, when you fell down the stairs, it looked like it hurt, and I wasn't sorry? Damn, Phoebe! Who hurt you? So why is the record, as dark as it can be, so much less emotionally taxing than it could be? The answer lies in the thesis of the whole record. On True Blue, Lucy sings, "It feels good to be known so well." However uncomfortable and scary life can be, getting lost on unfamiliar highways and caught in riptides, we find solace in those we know better than ourselves. It's a rare and special kind of vulnerability that is very rarely encapsulated in song the way it is on the record. The record is not so much a product of obligation or duty, it's a product of one of the purest loves I can think of. Friendship. That's the power of a supergroup. My personal favorites on this one are Within You Without Them, $20, True Blue, Cool About It, Not Strong Enough, and Satanist. If you want to keep up with all my favorite songs from all of the Vinyl Mondays, I have a Spotify playlist linked in my description. I update it every week. I know this is a Friday, but I'm breaking the rules and throwing this one in the Vinyl Monday playlist anyway. It's my series and I get to pick the music! And that is it. That is boygenius's The Record, Part 2 of Power of the Supergroup. What do you think of the record? Have you heard it? Will you go out and hear it after this video? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing what you guys have to say about albums I love. And if you like what I do here, you should like this video and subscribe to my channel. I post new episodes of Vinyl Monday every Monday morning at 11 a.m. This is not usual for me, but you will be getting another Friday video next week. That'll be my 10K Q&A, so stick around for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!